The second night of BTS World Tour ARIRANG in Busan was already destined to be remembered as one of the most emotional nights in BTS history. It was June 13, 2026, the 13th anniversary of BTS. A night filled with celebration, gratitude, memories, and love. Thousands of armies packed Busan Asiad main stadium. Millions more followed online from every corner of the world. Purple lights stretched endlessly across the venue like stars scattered across the earth. The atmosphere felt magical. The members laughed. The members cried. The fans cried. Everyone understood they were witnessing a historic moment. But according to this fictional emotional narrative, nobody was prepared for what would happen near the end of the concert. A moment so touching that it would leave an entire stadium in tears. A moment centered around three simple words. I love MOM. Earlier that evening, rumors had already begun circulating among fans. Some claimed they had seen a mysterious woman wearing a white t-shirt and a yellow mask near one of the security barriers. Others insisted she looked familiar. The whispers grew louder as the concert progressed. Could it really be her? Could Jungkook's mother actually be attending the concert? The question spread throughout the stadium. Nobody knew for certain. Most fans dismissed the rumor as simple speculation. After all, events of this scale always generate stories. Yet the mystery remained. The woman stayed quiet. She avoided attention. She stood among the crowd like any ordinary attendee. No spotlight. No special treatment. No announcement. Just a mother quietly watching her son perform. According to the fictional story, Jungkook had no idea she was there. He spent the first part of the concert completely focused on the performance. His vocals were powerful. His energy was incredible. His smile lit up the stadium. Every time he appeared on the giant screens, the audience erupted into deafening cheers. The Golden Magne seemed unstoppable. Yet fate had one more surprise waiting. As the concert moved into its final emotional section, BTS gathered together to address the audience. The atmosphere changed. The celebration became more reflective. The members began speaking about their journey, their friendship, their gratitude, their dreams. Several members became emotional. Fans listened carefully. Many already had tears in their eyes. Then Jungkook stepped forward. The crowd immediately exploded with cheers. His smile appeared bright at first. But according to the fictional narrative, something suddenly caught his attention. Near the barrier, standing quietly, watching him, a woman wearing a white shirt, a yellow mask. The same woman fans had been whispering about all night. Jungkook stared. For a moment he seemed confused. Then the woman lowered her mask. Everything changed. The smile on Jungkook's face disappeared. His eyes widened. The stadium continued cheering, unaware of what was happening. But those closest to the stage noticed immediately. Something was different. Jungkook wasn't speaking. He wasn't moving. He simply stood there, looking, staring, trying to process what he was seeing. According to the fictional story, it was his mother. The person who had supported him long before the world knew his name. The person who believed in him when success was only a distant dream. The person who encouraged him when he was still a young boy chasing an impossible goal. And now she was standing before him, quietly, proudly, smiling. The realization overwhelmed him. The audience slowly grew quieter. The giant screens focused on Jungkook. Fans noticed tears forming in his eyes. The atmosphere instantly shifted. Thousands of people stopped cheering, stopped talking, stopped moving. Everyone sensed that something deeply emotional was unfolding. According to the fictional narrative, Jungkook approached the edge of the stage, smiling through tears of her own. The moment felt almost unreal. The world-famous superstar suddenly looked like a little boy seeing his mother after a long journey. The audience watched in complete silence. Many fans already had tears streaming down their faces. The members stood nearby, watching, smiling, understanding, because they knew how much family meant to each other. Several moments passed. No words, only emotion. Then Jungkook lifted the microphone. The stadium became completely silent. Tens of thousands of people waited, listening, wondering what he would say. His voice trembled. His eyes remained fixed on his mother. And then he spoke. 3 simple words. I love Mom. The reaction was immediate. The entire stadium erupted. Not with screams. Not with excitement. But with emotion. Fans cried openly. Some covered their faces. Others embraced their friends. Many simply stood frozen. The moment felt bigger than music. Bigger than a concert. Bigger than fame. Those 3 words carried years of memories. Years of sacrifice. Years of love. Years of support. According to the fictional story, Jungkook continued speaking. His voice shaky. His emotions impossible to hide. He spoke about dreams. He spoke about gratitude. He spoke about the people who helped him become who he was. Most importantly, he spoke about his mother. The person who stood beside him from the beginning. The person who never stopped believing. The audience listened through tears. Every sentence touched hearts. Every word felt genuine. Every emotion felt real. Even the members appeared deeply moved. RM lowered his head briefly. Jin wiped his eyes. Jimin looked emotional. V smiled softly. Suga remained quiet but visibly touched. J-Hope's eyes reflected the significance of the moment. The entire stadium seemed united by a single feeling. Love. Not celebrity. Not performance. Not success. Love. The simplest and most powerful emotion of all. As Jungkook looked toward his mother again, the audience began applauding. Slowly at first. Then louder still. Soon the entire stadium was standing. Tens of thousands of people applauding a mother. Applauding a son. Applauding a journey. The sound echoed throughout Busan. According to the fictional narrative, Jungkook smiled through his tears. His mother smiled back. No words were needed. Everything had already been said. The rest of the concert continued beautifully. The members performed their final songs. Fans sang along. Purple lights illuminated the night. Yet nobody could stop thinking about that moment. I love Mom. 3 words. 3 unforgettable words. By the time the concert ended, social media was overflowing with reactions. Fans shared emotional messages. They shared stories about their own families. They called their parents. They thanked the people who supported them. Because the fictional story had reminded everyone of something important. No matter how successful you become, no matter how far you travel, no matter how large the stage becomes, the people who loved you first will always matter most. And according to this emotional fictional narrative, that was the true message of BTS's unforgettable night in Busan. A night of music, a night of memories, a night of gratitude, and a night when a son looked into the crowd, saw his mother, and reminded the world of the power of love with 3 simple words. I love Mom. Purple Heart loudly crying face sparkles. As the applause continued to fill Busan Asiad main stadium, many fans felt as though time had stopped. The concert was still happening. The lights still shined brightly. The music was still waiting to begin again. Yet nobody could stop thinking about the emotional moment they had just witnessed. According to this fictional narrative, Jungkook stood silently for several seconds after saying those unforgettable words. I love Mom. His voice had barely faded before another wave of emotion swept through the stadium. Many fans openly cried. Others held their army bombs close to their hearts. Some simply stared at the giant screens, trying to process what they had just seen. The atmosphere felt different now. More intimate. More personal. More human. For a few moments, BTS was no longer the biggest group in the world. Jungkook was no longer a global superstar. Instead, everyone saw something far simpler. A son expressing gratitude toward his mother. And somehow that simple moment touched millions of hearts. According to the fictional story, Jungkook took a deep breath before speaking again. His eyes still glistened under the stadium lights. When he looked toward the crowd, fans could see both happiness and emotion written across his face. "I always wanted to make my family proud," he said softly. The audience immediately responded with thunderous applause. His words resonated deeply. Every person in the stadium understood that feeling. The desire to make your parents proud. The desire to repay their sacrifices. The desire to show them that their support mattered. Jungkook smiled. Then he looked toward the area where his mother was standing. Even from a distance, he could see her smiling back at him. According to the fictional narrative, memories began flooding through his mind. He remembered being a child in Busan. He remembered singing before anyone knew his name. He remembered practicing late into the night. He remembered leaving home at a young age to pursue a dream that many people thought was impossible. Most importantly, he remembered the people who encouraged him to keep going. His family. The audience listened carefully. Every word seemed to carry years of emotion. Every sentence felt meaningful. The members stood quietly nearby, allowing Jungkook to have his moment. RM smiled proudly. Jin looked emotional once again. Jimin gently wiped his eyes. V's expression reflected deep affection. Suga nodded quietly. J-Hope's bright smile never faded. They understood better than anyone how much this moment meant. Because they had witnessed Jungkook's journey from the beginning. They had seen the sacrifices, the struggles, the victories, the growth. Now they were witnessing one of the most personal moments of his career. The crowd began chanting his name. Jungkook, Jungkook, Jungkook. The sound grew louder, and louder, and louder. The stadium echoed with love and support. Jungkook laughed softly through his tears. The emotional atmosphere became almost overwhelming. According to the fictional story, his mother appeared deeply moved by the reaction as well. She had arrived quietly, without attention, without expectation, without wanting recognition. She simply wanted to watch her son perform. Yet somehow she had become part of one of the most unforgettable moments of the night. As the celebration continued, the audience slowly transformed the emotional energy into something beautiful. Fans began waving their purple lights in unison. The entire stadium glowed. From the stage, it looked like an endless ocean of stars. Jungkook paused for a moment to take in the sight. The image was breathtaking. 13 years earlier, BTS had debuted with Uncertainty. Now they stood before tens of thousands of people celebrating their anniversary together. The realization seemed to affect everyone. Members, fans, staff, everyone. According to the fictional narrative, Jungkook then made a promise. Promise not only to ARMY, but also to his family. He promised to continue working hard, to continue growing, to continue making people proud. The crowd immediately erupted with applause. Many fans later described that moment as one of the most inspiring parts of the evening, because it reminded everyone that success is never achieved alone. Behind every achievement are people who helped make it possible. Parents, friends, family, supporters, the people who believe in us before anyone else does. As the concert entered its final stages, the emotional atmosphere remained strong. Every song felt more meaningful. Every lyric carried extra weight. Every smile seemed brighter. Several times during the remaining performances, fans noticed Jungkook looking toward the crowd where his mother stood. Each glance generated fresh cheers from the audience. The moment had already become legendary. Not because of elaborate stage effects. Not because of a surprise performance. Not because of spectacle. But because of sincerity. Because people recognized something genuine. Something universal. Something everyone could understand. Love. Family. Gratitude. When the final encore arrived, the stadium once again became a sea of purple lights. The members stood together, shoulder to shoulder, celebrating 13 extraordinary years. The audience sang along with every word. Many fans continued crying. Others smiled through their tears. Nobody wanted the night to end. According to the fictional story, Jungkook took one final look toward his mother before the members prepared to leave the stage. Their eyes met briefly. No words were exchanged. None were necessary. Everything had already been said. The pride, the gratitude, the love. It was all there, visible to everyone. As BTS gathered for their final bow, the audience delivered one last deafening cheer. The members bowed deeply. Confetti filled the air. Purple lights sparkled throughout the stadium. And as the final moments of the anniversary celebration unfolded, many fans realized they had witnessed something they would never forget. Not merely a concert, not merely an anniversary, but a story about family, a story about dreams, a story about a son who never forgot where he came from. And according to this emotional fictional narrative, the words that remained in everyone's hearts long after the stadium lights faded were the simplest words spoken all night. I love him. Purple heart loudly crying face sparkles. This is a fictional continuation created for emotional storytelling purposes and is not a factual account of real events involving BTS, Jungkook, or his family.